Thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. It's just a couple of minutes past 9 a.m. here in Nairobi. The show is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. It is Monday, the 13th of June, 2022. I trust that you had a wonderful weekend and your day has started off well. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in and watching us from. So I'll take us through the headlines and then I'll bring in my panelists just in a short bit. We start with the Star newspaper. And the main headline, Raila moves into clear lead over William Ruto. Karua picks seems to have helped Raila with Rigathi, does not seem to have boosted Ruto. That is on page 4 and 5 on the Star. IEBC to do away with hard copy voter register at polling stations. That is on page 2. Sakaja's flip-flopping leaves his academic credentials in doubt. That is on page 20. Eyes on Senate as House debates 10 trillion Kenya shillings debt ceiling proposal. That is on page 8. And we go to the Standard newspaper. Sakaja decree fake or real? That is the main headline. Despite getting clearance, 4 cases have been filed to challenge Johnson Sakaja's nomination for governorship. And if any succeeds, he could be knocked off ballot, leaving Kenya Kwanza clutching on hope that IEBC allows a replacement. The story is on page 8. Day Ruto wanted to call it quits. A new book reveals. That is on page 6. CS Musheru denies role in ICT bill. The story is on page 26. And watch out, 12 million children have access to porn. Report by State Department for Social Protection shows most children access pornography through their parents' and friends' mobile phones, as well as school computers. The story is on page 13. School calls men for heart-to-heart talk with daughters. That is on page 3. Expect only digital registers at polling stations. IEBC tells Raila. That is on page 6. The Daily Nation, Uhuru allies to bitter foes. Kenyatta's endorsement of Odinga over Ruto has cost him several key allies, raising the questions of whether they are disloyal or simply fulfilling his unwritten promise to back the DP at the end of his final term. That is on page 7, and we see faces of key leaders, especially from Mount Kenya and, of course, one from Western Kenya. And Chebukati responds to Raila's queries on August elections. The story is on page 10. Ambush Robin Hood, murdered businessman led a double life. That is on page 8. Relief as NEC pays exam officials 684 million Kenya shillings agency clears allowances over 80,000 staff. That is on the back page. And Kenya misses COVID vaccination target. Kenya is still far from attaining the World Health Organization vaccination target of 70% of the population by mid this year. The Health Ministry says vaccine apathy is to blame for the low numbers. That is on the back page. And the degree saga, Sakaja given until noon today to file evidence. IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee grants a plea by Mr. Sakaja's lawyer, Mr. Adrian Kamodho, to be given more time to respond to the petitions. The story is on page 10 on the Daily Nation today. And perhaps I just read through quickly the headlines on these other newspapers, but when Dr. Matanga will come, he will give us the details of that. The Daily Telegraph from the UK, European judges to be stripped of protocol powers. And the Guardian from Nigeria, Muslim ticket recipe for crisis. CAN insist, emulate Abiola, save Nigeria's democracy. And the Citizen from Tanzania, Sykes family in inheritance court wrangle, and then end of the road for people smugglers and their customers. That is what we have on the Citizen. And a new vision from Uganda, private schools probed over NSSF. And The Guardian from the UK, overriding Northern Irish deal will damage UK investment, warns CBI. And The Herald from Zimbabwe, we are masters of our destiny. That is the headline. And 23 arrested for bribing police. And yes, and then we move on to the daily news still from Zimbabwe. Relentless power cuts dampen Zimbabwe as the Harare CBD is plunged into total darkness. And then just after that, Cyril to remain under the cosh. So that is what we see. Newsday from Zimbabwe still. Slain CCC activist family demands answers. CCC, that is the official opposition party in Zimbabwe. And The Nation from Nigeria, Southwest governors draw battle plan against terrorists. Okay, so that is what we have on the Kenya newspapers and some of the papers from across Africa and outside, specifically from the UK. So right now I'm joined by Douglas Kirimi from Meru, I believe. Douglas, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu, and also to our crew at our headquarters, and also to our friends across the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where they're watching us from. And thank you to them for keeping it Punchline Africa Television. Thank you, Miriam.
All right, and thank you so much for your time this morning. So I know you've heard me read through the headlines, and there's so much that I would like for us to talk about. And I'd like us to look at this new poll on the Star newspaper. We know the recent polls have been putting Raila Odinga at an advantage. So let's just see what this new poll is about, where Raila Odinga, should elections be held today, Raila Odinga is set to, according to this poll, get 44.6% and William Ruto 38.9%. Quite a significant departure from what we've been seeing in the months before. So let's just go to the story on page 4 and 5 before we get into this response by Chebukati to some of the queries that had been put forth by Azimio. Okay, so Azimio candidate Raila Odinga has pulled into a clear lead the presidential race with 44.6% of voters saying he is their preferred presidential candidate compared to 38.9% for DP William Ruto, according to the latest Radio Africa opinion poll. And remember, this opinion poll has been favoring Ruto until I think the last one, This 5.7% lead is well above the poll's margin of error. It is a dramatic change for Raila, who in July 2021 had just 14% support, according to Radio Africa polls, compared to 42% for Ruto. If the presidential election had been held a year ago, William Ruto could have been the clear winner. It is now theoretically possible that Raila could win on the first round, allowing for the undecided voters and those who say they will not vote at all. According to the poll, 74.8% of respondents will definitely vote and 18.9% will probably vote, a total of 93.7%. Another 3.2% said they would probably not vote and 3.1% said they would definitely not vote. And there's something, okay. So Radio Africa conducted its SMS poll on June 8th and 9th with a 1.5% margin of error. From 4,780 respondents from all 47 counties. And 2 weeks ago, Raila chose veteran activist and politician Martha Karua as his running mate, while Ruto chose Mathira, Member of Parliament, and Central Kenya mobilizer Rigathi Gachagua as his running mate. The choice of Martha seems to have helped Raila in the polls, while Rigathi does not seem to have boosted Ruto. What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Miriam. The greatest problem we have in this country is that people like William Ruto and his supporters or his allies do not accept the scientific polls in this country, Miriam. And I've said it before that scientific polls are here to stay, and opinion polls do not represent where the future is. Opinion polls represent where the hearts of the people are at the moment or in the past. For example, if you conduct an opinion poll that says that between June 6th to June 9th, the people of Kenya were saying they are going to vote for Raila Odinga. That is where they were between June 6th to June 9th. And William Ruto does not accept those facts, Miriam. And that's a scientific poll. For example, if you went to Meru today, all over the 9 constituencies and spread random opinion poll and ask the people, who are you going to vote for the next governor of Meru? And the people of Meru say they are going to vote for women representative Kawira Mwangaza. And then Kiraito comes on television the next day and says those opinion polls are biased to Kawira Mwangaza about the people. And then we go to Kiraito's village in South Imenti constituency and ask people, who are you going to vote for the next governor of Meru? And 10 people respond to the call and say that out of 10 people, 7 people are saying we are going to vote for Kiraito Morogi just because he is their kinsman. And then that opinion poll is published as an opinion poll from one side of Meru. And these people have said that they are going to vote for Kiraito Murungi. Scientifically, these people are going to vote for Kiraito Murungi. But this opinion poll is biased because it has picked a section or a small part of Meru and given the status about the whole gubernatorial race that is supposed to be spread across the 45 wards and across the 9 constituencies, and they just did one village. But for William Ruto, I have a shock. I have news for him. Remember, we are told that before Raila was trading William Ruto, before or even before Raila tried campaigning for the presidential seat, William Ruto was always leading because he was the only candidate, Miriam. And this is where the matrix became hard for William Ruto, because William Ruto was the only one who was campaigning when President Uhuru Kenyatta was telling, please, let's go to work, we can come and campaign later. Then William Ruto saw the urgency of the moment, and time was not on his side. He started campaigning immediately in 2018. But when you do that, Miriam, and the official campaign starts and all people come together, I don't think William Ruto saw our George Wajakoya, Professor George Wajakoya's moment in Kenyan politics, or trying to excite the same masses he has been exciting with the Asra narrative, with now is a regularization of marijuana. Now, Miriam, if you look at what the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has done by picking a running mate that is resonating with the people in central Kenya, women across the country, an articulate woman, a woman of integrity, straightforward, a woman, a no-nonsense woman, that has been able to spur the votes across the people of Kenya. When an opinion poll is done, a scientific opinion poll is done, they say that a mother has brought a breath of fresh air. And on the other hand, they have also brought Rigathi Gachagua. People have formed an amorphous group called Give Rigathi Gachagua Microphone Association of Kenya. These people are saying every time William Ruto gives the microphone to Rigathi Gachagua or anywhere he is invited, he loses a lot of votes for William Ruto, and William Ruto does not seem to see that. All he sees is money that Rigathi Gachagua is bringing to the fore without looking at the votes. Miriam, there is a place for money and there also is a place of votes in politics, Miriam, because at the end of the day, it is numbers that are going to count. For me, my opinion is it is true. That's a scientific poll. The people of Kenya have decided they are going to hand over the Right Honorable Raila Odinga a good opportunity to become their president, because that's where the hearts of the people are. And I want people to know that an opinion poll does not predict the future. An opinion poll tells us where the people are. For example, Miriam, if someone calls you today and asks you, which is your preference for beverages? And you say, I prefer Fanta over Sprite or Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Then Fanta takes the day because Miriam gave it a vote and several others. But at the end of the day, Pepsi company cannot come today and dispute the same, because that's where the hearts of the people were. So it's up to William Ruto to up his game, market himself all over again for the remaining period of time, so that the hearts of the people can maybe shift it to him, or maybe stick with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Okay.
Because an opinion poll, Miriam, is an opportunity that presents itself for us to be shown where the hearts of the people are. Thank you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. And Douglas, of course, we have been looking at this story and how, Ruto has been leading in these opinion polls, and we've talked about it, I think, for the last couple of years, because at that time, as you have reminded us, William Ruto was actively campaigning, and I think the other side had not really formed and had not entered into active campaigns. And so that is perhaps why he was leading. But that aside, there seems to be everything to do with their running mates, their choice of their running mates in this regard. And we know before Rigathi Gachagua was chosen at Kenya Kwanza, there was a bit of it was very intense. And from what we've heard, allegedly, even a lot of leadership from Mount Kenya and who support, William Ruto had preferred Kithure Kindiki. And the majority of them would have preferred him to be the running mate in Kenya Kwanza, but because of whatever it is, Ruto settled on Rigathi Gachagua. But those are just claims, we don't know if we can substantiate that. But it appears as though this is not working very well for Ruto. His running mate could be a liability. And so I don't know what do you think Rigathi is thinking right now? And do you think they're regretting, Kenya Kwanza is regretting this decision, especially DP Ruto?
Thank you, Miriam. I bumped into Rigathi Gachagua when he was in Meru at the Alba Hotel in Meru town, and I almost felt like, should I talk to him or should I tell him the truth about the whole matrix, about his campaigns and how him speaking in rallies is messing up William Ruto's fortunes in the hearts of the people. And Miriam, remember, what can kill a man is not even something that we can be able to quantify and tell us. It's a quote that says we cannot be able to quantify what can kill a man. For William Ruto, he has been campaigning for the last, I think, 9 or 10 years, Miriam, since they came into power, because William Ruto in 2013 was reminding the people of Meru, in 2022, I'll be a president. And we used to see that to be a too far away dream. In 2018, when the president was sworn in, he came again to the fore and started campaigning and using a lot of resources and all that. But for us to be able to understand the context and the text of the whole issue, we need to be able to understand that a presidential campaign or any campaign depends on so many factors, Miriam, except you as a person who is running for president. For example, for Raila Odinga, there are so many aspects. For example, the financial aspect of the campaign, the branding part of the campaign, the choice of a running mate, a person that is going to represent you, the next president of the Republic of Kenya. If things do not work for you as a president, we can have a replacement of you as a deputy president who is going now to take over as our president. I have always told the people that William Ruto's choice for running mate Rigathi Gachagua is not presidential, in quote, Miriam, because one, I do not think Rigathi Gachagua has the vigor, has the cara, has the candor for him to be president of the Republic of Kenya. Because if Rigathi Gachagua speaks today, Miriam, he speaks as a political mobilizer, the way newspapers are framing him. He speaks as an opinion leader who can just say anything. Remember, William Ruto himself does not speak the way Rigathi Gachagua speaks. Rigathi Gachagua is also very reckless in his talk and also the way he presents his issues. He's very articulate, but at the end of every speech, he makes sure that that speech has been watered by one wrong word. Because Miriam, when you look at the way Rigathi Gachagua came to the fore and also to be announced as William Ruto's running mate, it is something that has to do with, number one, he has the money, and Kithure Kindiki, the man from our backyard, they said to have no money to be able to fund a political campaign. But William Ruto should have looked behold what Rigathi Gachagua was bringing in terms of numbers. He should have also looked at, can I be able to talk to Rigathi Gachagua such that he is not going to be speaking in these meetings? Miriam, we have our deputy governors who cannot even address 2 or 3 people to save their lives, and they have performed exemplary. And we have also had presidential vice presidents or presidential deputies or deputy presidents nominees who would not even speak to 20 people to save their lives. For me, if they deny Rigathi Gachagua an opportunity to be able to speak to the public, or maybe just to show his face, say, hi, my name is Rigathi Gachagua, and all that. Miriam, it can save the face for William Ruto.
It is not a beauty contest. He needs to help sell the manifestos. I don't know if that will even help or just make it worse. But Douglas, I'd like us to invite...
No. Miriam, my point is, Rigathi Gachagua can run other aspects of the campaign. He can manage the presidential campaigns. Yeah. He can be able to mobilize resources. He has been mobilizing the over 900 women groups in the Madera constituency when the DP was visiting, and the whole event would be very colorful and all that. There are so many aspects of a presidential campaign, Miriam. Yes. It's not a must that you speak, Miriam. For example,
from what we're seeing, I mean, mobilizing as much as he's good at that, but that does not count much if you're not able to really help sell your agenda, and maybe
But
you being
Miriam,
there
every time Rigathi
is
Gachagua
not very
opens his
appealing.
mouth, is a disaster. The other day, he told police officers, we are going to make sure you are promoted, given allowances, go back to school so that you can get jobs. So all the thousands, hundreds of thousands of police officers in this country,
Yes.
or the security forces in this country, they are not in the right jobs. So Rigathi Gachagua, Miriam, the other day actually, he took the microphone and said, we are going to change this police uniform because it looks like the PCA Women's Guild uniform. So it must be changed into something nice. So it means that the PCA church that he grew up in, this uniform is not a nice one. They are wearing rags.
So the
Miriam,
Women's Guild have taken offense with that comment.
they have taken offense, and they have also responded to him yesterday, Miriam. It's all over the newspapers. Rigathi Gachagua is a liability to William
So what
Ruto.
you're saying is you stop talking.
He should stop talking and start managing money in that campaign or something else, Miriam. He can be writing speeches for William Ruto or something else.
I think a written speech perhaps would be a good guiding,
Better.
as far as when he's speaking in public. Yeah. I felt some ways about the police uniform, but I think seeing them wearing it a lot, I think I got used to it. I didn't like them at first, not because of, I think we were used to the older uniforms for a long time, so I think sometimes accepting change. So now when I see them, I'm like, okay, fine. But at first I didn't like them, but not for the reasons Rigathi is giving. Maybe because you're just used to the other uniforms, but I think they're just fine. Gladwell Kiragu, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Miriam.
Okay, nice to have you on the show this morning. So we are looking at an opinion poll that was carried out by Radio Africa, and they've been doing this for a long time, and as we've been looking at it every month, I think they bring out some results, and Ruto has been leading. But on the latest, they're saying overall, Raila is leading. If elections were held today, Raila would get 44% and Ruto will get 38%. And let's just break that down according to this opinion poll. For the first time, Ruto's lead in Central has dropped below half to 49.4%. So it's still significant, but it has dropped compared to how it has been Ruto's lead in Central. While Raila is on 20.9%, an influencing factor may be the entry of Wajakoya, who garnered 3.9% support in Central. So Wajakoya huyu ndiye atapita katikati. I don't know what you make of this. In Central, Ruto's lead has dropped just a little bit. Raila seems to have gained also a little bit, and Wajakoya seems to be disrupting. Thoughts here? Gladwell.
Yes, very true, Miriam. And I've met you in a very interesting topic. And it is true, yes, Wajakoya is gaining votes, yes, because as we know, most of the youths want Wajakoya in because of what he's introducing. Other than that, some of us, we don't want. So it seems that Wajakoya, and I like the way Wajakoya said yesterday that this battle is between him and Ruto because they are fighting for the second position. And it is true. And what I can say, can they continue giving Rigathi Gachagua the microphone? We want to hear him so much because he's just making things better. I mean, he's just making things worse for them and making things better for the Azimio team.
Okay, so that is your advice for strategy. The other side should, Kenya Kwanza should adopt. I'm not sure because Rigathi, as far as we know, he's number 2 in Kenya Kwanza. So I don't know if he'll still have to get the microphone. So I don't know if they'll. I'm not sure, but he will still hear him. Continue talking. But what I hear the two of you saying this morning, this might not be for the advantage of Kenya Kwanza. So, Douglas, I'm sure you've heard what I've read here. For the first time, Ruto's lead in central Kenya has went below 50%. But, it's just a small change because it still stands at 49.4%. He enjoys that support in central Kenya. And Raila has gone up and he's now at 20.9%. But also, Wajakoya seems to be a factor here.
Miriam, we have always maintained that you cannot never understand the central Kenya voter. You can never quantify their percentage in terms of this is the percentage this is the percentage that says are going to vote for this person. This is a percentage that says are going to vote for person A, person B, and all that. Because one, these people are very cunning, Miriam. Me being one of them, they cannot be able to let you know that I'm with this person. I've also gauged this with myself. I can be supporting you in January, and in June I'm not with you, and in December I'm going to vote for another person. Why? Because Miriam, we also want to keep our options open. The only person who was giving money in churches and also donating huge amounts of money to politicians that used to visit him in Karen, there was William Ruto alone. Raila was not giving money. Wajakoya was not giving money because probably he had none. And also, people were not in the race to run for president. People like Muturi tried, and people went for his money, and he had to give up the presidential dream and all that. People were camping at his home every Saturday to receive handouts from him when he comes from parliamentary business as the Speaker of the National Assembly, the former 12th Parliament that he was the Speaker of National Assembly. But Miriam, when you look at it, how do we know that Raila Odinga is going to get a substantial number of voters in central Kenya aligned to him? When you look at it, we've been told that Raila just requires a certain percentage from central Kenya, and then he becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya. If it is so, Miriam, I don't think that the next phase, which is probably gone around 15%, then and to the 20% that he has, the kind of support, because I've also told you that an opinion poll shows us where the hearts of the people are. We are told that 20% of the people in central Kenya are with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Remember, this is a person who could not even garner 5% of the support of the central Kenya people. And when you look at it critically, Miriam, we are actually over-delivering the promise of maybe 10 to 15% because this is 20%. And when you look at this 20%, in the next 2 months, we are going to get, in less than 2 months, we are going to get more than 10% because there are so many people in central Kenya who cannot speak because of their own interest. The ballot is going to speak, Miriam, and we pray that the people of Kenya are going to exercise their democratic right without the fear of being condemned or also their choices, because if I choose a person over a secret ballot, Miriam, nobody will know that I've made a choice between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto. On the issue of campaigning area, William Ruto thought that he has rocked the people of central Kenya in one voter basket, and he has carried it away with himself, Miriam, so to say. But if you look at the people in central Kenya, they are deviating each and every day. The other day they said, now we are supporting Raila because of Mother Karua. And if you ask William Ruto, he said that he wants to have a Mount Kenya people. He is not going to share anything with them. He's going to give them a deputy so that he can be able to have a share of Mount Kenya people, maybe at 90% or 80%. And remember, for him to be president, Miriam, he has to get the support of Mount Kenya people, maybe probably at 90% or 95%, like President Kenyatta did in 2013 and 2017. Okay. If he gets less than 90 or 80% of the support of the people of Mount Kenya, he's not going to be president. And what are we looking at? We are looking at 49% and the 20%, which means William Ruto is not going to garner the 95% in Kirinyaga, 95% in Meru, 95% in Laikipia, 95% in Kiambu, 90% in Murang'a, 90% in Nyeri that President Kenyatta was commanding during the electioneering period of 2013 and 2017. What I'm saying, Miriam, the next president of the Republic of Kenya might be the Right Honorable Raila Odinga because he has gotten numbers that he has never gotten historically, Miriam. I've said before that out of every 10 people in Meru and the surrounding counties, 4 are identifying with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga openly without a secret ballot, and they are saying, my vote belongs to Raila Amolo Odinga. And now, to compound the matters for Raila Odinga, he has chosen a woman from central Kenya. They are saying, before I wouldn't have voted for Raila Amolo Odinga, but now I'm voting for this superwoman. I'm going to vote for a woman of integrity. This is a card against anti-corruption crusade in this country. This is a card, this is a ticket that is going to liberate this country completely. So Miriam, I'm wishing William Ruto the best, like I've always done with a clear heart. But my vote and the votes of other people who might decide to vote for Jakoya of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga should not be condemned, because Miriam, at the end of the day, if we condemn other people for not supporting William Ruto, we had no secret deal with William Ruto that the people of Mount Kenya, we are going to support him 100%. If you look at the way people are doing today, Miriam, this is a beginning. In the next 2 months, things are going to turn around. The tide is turning against William Ruto, and he has to also remember that political promises are fickle. The same way politicians give us fickle promises is the same way voters give you fickle promises. William Ruto can't believe that Raila Odinga is at 20% in Central Kenya, Miriam. This is unbelievable. It has never happened in history. For all the time the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has been running for president, it has never happened in Central Kenya, and we are hoping with the card the president is voting today because he's supporting the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the number increases, and openly, if that number increases to 30 or 40%, William Ruto is gone as an opposition.
Okay, so I want us to, because there's still very interesting factors on this new poll, so I want us to just finish this quickly because I also want us to get into the matter of IEBC and that reply by Chebukati to some of the queries that had been raised by Azimio team. Another key factor, according to this poll, appears to be that Raila is making inroads with youth vote. The Radio Africa poll found that Raila was supported by 43.5% of respondents aged 18 to 29 years old, compared to 38.4% for Ruto. Raila also leads with the older demographics, and Professor Wajakoya has relatively strong 3.5% support among 18 and 29-year-olds. So it is interesting. Raila has 43.5% of people aged 18 to 29. What do you think? What is the resonating factor in Raila's manifesto, perhaps, that you would say is appealing to this young, people, Gladwell?
Miriam, to be honest, most are the youths. And reason being, as they're going around selling the manifesto and what they're going to do, we are also urging the youth that this time you have also to make the right decisions. And I think the youths are now getting to see it, because what I believe, youth starts from 18 to 35 years, being between there. That's the age bracket of being a youth. And I believe that now the country is going to be better. With the previous elections, it was all about money, but now what they're doing, it's all about making the right decision, because at the end of it all, everybody has suffered, Miriam, mostly with the current economy. So I think, and also with the manifesto that was launched, I think most when you're talking about the industry, that's why you can see when Raila was talking about the industry during the manifesto launch, we could see that the age brackets could be because of the job opportunities which are going to be created by these industries.
And as we look at that, before I get to Douglas, do you think maybe the gospel of wheelbarrow is something that perhaps youth cannot totally, especially those that have gone to school and informed? They're saying, no, I'd rather just, get job that resonates with my skills, not, that hard labor, if I might put it like that.
Miriam, I would also not waste my whole campus life for somebody to sell me a manifesto of a wheelbarrow. It can't happen now.
Okay. All right. So as we conclude on this matter, Douglas, Raila leads in Nairobi with 52.2%. compared to 29.1% for Ruto. In Coast, Raila leads with 49.2% compared to 34.4%, which Ruto has. In Lower Eastern, Raila leads with 54.3% and Ruto has 27.4%. In Nyanza, Raila leads with 66.8% against 19.9% of Ruto. And in Western Kenya, Raila leads with 50.9% against 33.2%. So basically what I'm saying, especially for Western, Douglas, it appears Mudavadi and Wetangula has their work cut out, because as it is right now, Raila is leading with 50.9% and Kenya Kwanza, or William Ruto, is leading with 33.3%, 33.2%.
Miriam, there's something I need to say that I think you will allow me to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Raila is Aruya, and also his wife is Aruya. Remember, people like Aturi, Uko, my brother-in-law, are also Ruyas of high repute, and also people like Defense Minister Eugene Wamalwa are supporting him, are supporting Raila, and so many other prominent Ruya leaders are supporting people from Western Kenya, Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, Kakamega, Vihiga, are supporting the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Remember, him being a Ruya, he is a political heavyweight that people can trust more than a free prop who is also Musalia Mudavadi, the leader of ANC, or the senator from Bungoma, Moses Masika Wetangura, whose influence we have seen that is around Kabuchai constituency, and actually the former Sirisia constituency that he used to represent in parliament. The MP for Sirisia, Major John Waruke, today is in Jubilee Party and is supporting Raila Odinga without questions and without any conditions. And if you look at, if you are former MP, the current MP for Kabuchai, who comes from Fort Kenya, Majimbo Karasinga also, is a man who is flip-flopping between Kenya Kwanza and also between Azimio la Umoja. And if your former MP are on, your MCA and all people do not support your presidential choice, who is William Ruto, and they're supporting the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, shows you there's something wrong in that region, Miriam. These people who have been predominantly Raila Odinga's supporters cannot be able to shift the base at night because Moses Masika Wetangura told them, and Musalia Mudavadi told them. So I believe their support in Western Kenya is going down, and also people are not listening to them. I saw the other day, Miriam, the same Musalia Mudavadi begging the people of Western Kenya, Vihiga, do not vote for an MCA in my village who is going to be a new DA candidate. Please give it to an ANC so that they will have a voice in the national level. Please don't vote for an MP that belongs to another party so that they will have a voice in Nairobi. These people are going to mock me. They are going to make jokes out of my performance in this election. Please, I'm begging you, my fellow villagers. These are the same villagers that he has not even helped when he was the vice president of the Republic of Kenya, Miriam, when he was a powerful financial minister for finance in this country, running the treasury. He didn't even tarmac the road to his own family home in Mururu village, Miriam. This is the same man now that he's asking them, it is time that you scratch my back. I've had your back before. But the question is, Musalia Mudavadi, what have you been able to bring to the fore when you are in government with your uncle, President Toroitich Arap Moi? What did you do for the people of Western Kenya so that they can be able to pledge their loyalty to you? Raila has been always advocating for the people of Western Kenya, giving them the best performance like Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, and also pushing for development into their region. They know Raila is one of their own, Miriam, and I believe that the people of Western Kenya, because these opinion polls said their hearts are with Raila Odinga, I believe there is nothing, no miracle is going to happen in the next 2 months for them to vacate their position and now declare their support for William Ruto. After spending billions of shillings in Western Kenya, Miriam, it has gone to water. It is nothing. It has nothing to show. Even after bringing the famous Papa Roma, Moses Wetangura, bringing the former Vice President Musalia Mudavadi has not worked for the Deputy President William Ruto. And this actually, Miriam, should go to every politician out there, thinking that you can be able to pick an performer and also bring a person with no political influence to your camp, and also think that people are going to just follow you because you have a political weakling on your side. It shows that people should be able to bank on people like Kalonzo Musyoka with a near fanatical following in Ukambani. People like Kekereito Murungi, who are also strong leaders in Meru and other places, in like Peter Munya in other places of Meru, and also Central Kenya, where people can be able to follow their leaders without question and conditions, because Miriam is going to make you politically weak, and also it is not going to bring you any numbers, especially for William Ruto. I feel sad for the billions of shillings that he has spent on these people, Miriam, and they are not bringing him anything tangible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I heard you there make reference to, tribal kingpins, as DP Ruto had been calling them, these leaders who have fanatical followers from their ethnical backgrounds. But anyway, that is the core of our Kenyan politics, isn't it? So it's not something new. So let's jump into another matter, and Chebukati responds to Raila's queries on August elections. Yes.
Please, may I speak before we go?
Okay, just 30 seconds.
William Ruto has been telling us these are tribal lords, that he cannot be able to go to particular leaders in regions, and he is going directly to the people. In northern Kenya, he is going for Andan Duare. In Western Kenya, he is going for Moses Wetangura and also Musalia Mudavadi. In coastal region, he is going for Jaffa Amason Kingi, the governor of Kilifi, and also going for Maret Salai, the former senator from Mombasa. And also in central Kenya, he's going for leaders who are in parliament and also senators who are running around with him asking for Kenyans to vote for Moses Kuria. Have they not democratically in Kenya Kwanza chosen that they are going to use tribal loans after trashing them for over 4 years, Miriam? Is William Ruto not correct to say that tribal lords or tribal kings, the way he calls them, are very influential in their regions, that he had now to quell his tail and go back to them and ask for their support? Thank you.
Okay, and as I said, just to add on to what you're saying, Douglas, unfortunately, that is the call when it comes to our politics. It starts there and then it moves up. Hopefully, one day it will come a point where that might change, and actually, we can choose our leaders based on other factors. Okay. So the electoral agency, I'm reading from the front page of the Daily Nation, the electoral agency has dropped the use of physical voters register at the polling stations and wants all voters identified electronically in the August elections. The new rule by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission means that voters who cannot be identified electronically will be turned away in a response to demands by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party that Raila leads. IEBC says the decision to phase out the complementary voter identification mechanism was born out of a case of misuse of the physical register in the past. So what Chebukati is saying, if your name does not appear in the electronic voter register, then you might as well you will not vote on that day. I don't know how you feel about this, Clado.
It's not fair at all, but to be honest, people are missing on these registers, by the way. Somebody like Kanini Kega's sister, name was found to be, is it somewhere in Western? Yes, she's not from Western. People's names are missing in the register. I also checked mine and I'm missing, so that means I won't vote. And that's my duty to vote at my radio station. I have been voting for the past 4 elections that I voted. So when you tell somebody that when your name misses that you're not going to vote, that's not right, and that's not practicing the Kenyan democracy. They should have a way of whereby if you miss, there's a way they were doing it back then, that if you miss, there's a way you can find your name and you go. They facilitate you go and vote. Can they say so? Can they facilitate for the person to go and vote? You can't tell me because I'm missing in the register, I won't vote. I will have to vote, but I don't know how, but I'll have to vote.
Okay, but Chebukati said the reason why they're doing away with the physical register is I think it has aided in some malpractice and it's being misused, if I just could quote the word that he used there. How do you feel about this, Douglas? If you cannot be identified electronically, you will be turned away on the voting day. I should check my name again.
Miriam, I think Chebukati is misplaced. And I say that Chebukati is technically, actually, it's not Douglas who said it. It's Chebukati himself who said their commission is not technically prepared for this election. And Miriam, Chebukati cannot ban this country because he feels that he needs to read the commission the way he wishes. Because Miriam, this is an independent commission, constitutional commission that should be performing the mandate to the service and the industry of the people of Kenya, not to the wishes and the whims of Wafula Chebukati, the IBC strict chairman, Miriam. Because I think, from my perspective, Wafula Chebukati should have two registers right before, a physical register and a digital register. Because Miriam, there is no way you can tell me that Wafula Chebukati has no proper softwares to be able to identify Douglas Bundi Keremi as a voter in Getune Coffee Factory in Kiagu Ward in Central Imenti, Meru County, and he cannot, if I cannot be identified in his computers, I can be able to work in those computers and delete several polling stations or maybe several voters and make sure that I can be able to prefer those other polling stations with people. Maybe if you wanted to vote in Kiago, I can electronically add into that system and relocate that person into Elwak in northern Kenya, or I can be able to relocate that person in Kamusinga or some other places in western Kenya, Miriam. What Chebukati is telling us, he is opening a can of worms, and this election is not going to be credible, and it's not going to be fair, and it's not going to be an election that the people of Kenya can be able to be proud of. Because Miriam, I do not feel comfortable, like myself, that we are going into an election that IBC is not even technically prepared for. What is wrong with Chebukati having a physical register, a booklet, and also having my details in a register? He needs to also prove to the people of Kenya that this is this system that is going to use for digital register Miriam cannot be tampered with Miriam. But these are things that have been created and also been innovated by men or the hands of men. So there is a margin of error to the same. So we do not want these jokes Chebukati is playing around to us after telling us 2 years later. He told us 2 years earlier that he is not technically prepared for this election, Miriam. Chebukati is failing the people of Kenya. He is failing Douglas Bundi Kiremi because if my name misses, I'm going to court because he said he is not technically prepared for this election. Thank you.
And I'm just wondering, what is for the cases where these biometrics have failed? Because there were instances where these electronic machines could not really work properly because of several other factors. We know that technology has its own challenges. So what will happen in these polling stations if these biometrics do not work on that day? Kenyans will not vote? We're joined by Dr. David Matanga this morning. Doctor, very good morning to you.
Good morning. Briefly, Miriam, the subject that you are handling, I've been listening from the background, is very serious, crucial, and for me, I've gone full throttle. I have no mercy. For the last 4 years, I've been telling you quickly, in a very serious way, Chebukati should not handle your vote. And I told you, you should not handle your ballot at all. You are now telling people that there will be no manual anything at the polling station. But your machines take even hours to transmit just something very simple. Tell me where we are going to be by the end of the time when they declare these results. It will be a disaster. I agree with Douglas, and I agree with you that if I were Kenyan, I should not.
Okay, we apologize for that. We seem to have suffered a bit of a technical hitch there. So as we wait for that to be sorted out so that Doc can come.
Miriam.
Yes.
Please, Chebukati is just feeding the people of Kenya. There are particular regions. I think you have captured them in your analysis before when I was away. That there are particular regions that 4G network cannot be able to be accessed
3G,
technically.
yes.
There are regions where a digital register is not going to work.
Over 1,000 polling stations, about 1,111 polling stations are out of 3G.
My goodness, Miriam, my goodness. And now over 1,000 polling stations in this country are not going to vote in this election because Chebukati tells us that for you to vote, you have to be confirmed that you're in a voters register that is supposed to be digital. Chebukati is a joke taken too for Miriam. I've advocated for the removal of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of the Republic of Kenya because this is a man that Miriam should not be near the IBC. I have said it before and I have no bias against the lawyer, Wafula Chebukati. He's a fine man. But what he is doing to the people of Kenya, he is failing the people of Kenya. There are people in this country, Miriam, whose democratic rights are going to be stifled, whose their right to vote, to elect democratic rights, to elect the leaders of their own choice are going to be stifled. Remember, Miriam, what if these voters, over 1,000 polling stations across this nation or some region in this country are supporters of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga or William Ruto or Professor George Wajakoya? We are going to deny William Ruto the investment of his campaign funds, time and resources and manifesto and vision, and going to deny him an opportunity having a presentation at the ballot where his voice is going to be raised by the people who are going to vote for him, Miriam. We should not be able to allow Chebukati to get away with this nonsense because, Miriam, it is not going to work and we cannot be able to accept it the same. Miriam, there are particular regions, I've discussed this with you before, in Congo, who have never voted for a president, who have never voted for an MP because they're in darkness. We cannot be taken to NGs where people in Congo cannot be able to vote. This is our republic. This is Kenya, Miriam.
Okay.
I'm very mad.
And I do understand. And of course, Gladwell is also not very happy. And now she's made me worry. She's saying her name is not there. I checked mine, so I'll have to check again. So hopefully after the cleaning up and adjusting that register, register, voter register, after the KPMG report. I'll recheck again my name, and hopefully I will not have such issues. Now, but there seems to be a solution for you, Gladwell. So there will be something called an alphanumeric, and this an alphanumeric search. Identification is one where voters' passports or identity cards are scanned. When a positive match pops up, they are asked to place their fingers on the kit for their biometrics to be recorded. So, your card will be identified like that. So that is called alphanumeric. And a document search is one where the numbers in the documents used to register are keyed in and voters asked to confirm. That is the voters' card. So it's used to confirm their biometrics. And of course, the removal of the physical register cures a 2017 anomaly where voters identified did not match those that voted. So they're trying to cure one of the key factors that led to the nullification of President Uhuru Kenyatta's win in 2017. And so you'll just go there with your ID, and then they will place it. They will scan it, and if it positively matches what pops up, then you will be allowed to vote. So you might not be, and if that fails to identify you, then now you will not vote. So they seem to be having a cure for that. But let me look at the 10 issues quickly that Raila had raised, and I will not look at the questions. I'll just look at Chebukati's answers, and they are on the front page of the Standard newspaper. The first one, results will be electronically submitted from polling stations to National Tallying Center and Constituency Tallying Center simultaneously via secure network. No more hard copies of registers in polling stations, only digital register will be available, and all voters will be identified electronically. IBC number 3 is taking corrective action on illegal transfers of voters, including implementing recommendation of KPMG audit. Cases of illegal transfer are not as many as claimed. And then Commission number 4 to receive the final KPMG audit report on June 16th and engage stakeholders on June 17th. Number 5, Commission will deploy satellite modems in 1,111 centers subject to availability of funds. So these ones are the ones which do not have the 3G connectivity. So they're saying the Commission will deploy satellite modem. So they seems to have put that in place. And sharing of names of returning officers with political parties is no longer necessary since they're now permanent officers. That is number 6. Number 7, Inform Liquors South Africa has the capacity to deliver without subcontracting information that is delayed. Nigeria election unfounded. So that is regards to the question from Raila, is the firm printing ballot papers competent? The Inform Lycos. And the answer was Inform Lycos has the capacity to deliver without subcontracting information that it delayed Nigerian election is unfounded. So apparently they're the ones who are printing for the Nigerian elections in 2019, and the elections were postponed the last minute, but it had nothing to do with the election papers, I think. But also it had some things to do with unpreparedness of the Electoral Commission in Nigeria. So I look into that story, but Chebukati is saying the same firm that is printing the papers, is competent. Number 8, Raila had asked, has IEBC irregularly delegated some roles to Smartmatic BV Holdings? And Chebukati's response was, Commission only shared technical specification to the bidder. BVR data has been migrated from previous company Idemia Otimorpho to Smartmatic. And then number 9, what has the Commission done to address the technology capacity? And Chebukati answered, KIEM's kit info register to be locked to specific polling stations via QR code specific to them. The Commission is auditing its technology. All right, and then the last one, what has the Commission done to address ghost of 2017 as flagged up by the Supreme Court? And Chebukati's answer was, Commission drafted legal reforms and submitted them to Parliament, embarked on institutional reforms for all its directorates and increased stakeholder engagements. Okay, so there are some reforms that the IEBC had brought into Parliament, but Parliament did not pass some of these things. So when Chebukati is saying that, of course, they submitted this and put them to Parliament, some of these things were not passed. So that means that some of the problems that popped up in 2017 that are likely to become a problem today, because that has not changed according to our constitution. But he's saying, he has embarked on institutional reforms with all its directorates, and also increased stakeholders' engagement. So out of all this, perhaps you'll pick any of these points that you feel IEBC has sufficiently answered some of the queries that was brought up by the Azimio team. And I'll start with you, Gladwell, as we conclude.
Miriam, yes, they have answered the questions, right? Yes. Some of the questions, yes, right. Then they are making sure that the election, as they claim that they don't have issues. But let me start by the one that which has hit me so hard. When they're saying that when your name is missing, that you can't vote, and when it's missing in the you also can't vote, not unless they have to scan your identification card. That one. What has, for example, the last election, when somebody's name was missing, for example, in villages, we got streams, and maybe if my name is Gladwell Nyambura Kirago, and maybe I'm supposed to be in stream 2 and I'm found in stream 6, that is what they were saying when I went to vote and I'm found in stream 2 and I'm sent to 6. That was the solution back then, but you could say it was still creating confusion. So you can imagine the kind of confusion that it will still create now, because most of these people, as I've heard them complaining, people are missing their names by the way. They don't know what the issue is. I've had so many people. I was in Juja and people are missing their names, and it's a query that people are raising. So that means most of the people won't vote them, because there's no way you can say, what if we also scan all our identification cards are scanned and our names are still missing? That means like 20% or 30% of the people then won't vote. I think that's an area they should start improving now and tell us a better solution, because they had all this time to prepare for these elections, and the solutions currently they're offering us are not working at all. Can they improvise for better election and better results?
Okay, very well, thank you. Your overall feeling on Chebukati's answers to some of the queries that had been raised, Douglas?
Miriam, I'm shocked to hear that some of the recommendations that they took, or the legal frameworks that they took to Parliament, or maybe whatever issues they raised to Parliament, have not been acted upon. Now, technically, again, on the part where Chebukati told us over 2 years ago that the IBC is not technically prepared for this election on 9th of August 2022. Miriam, on that very beautiful Tuesday when we wake up to go and vote for the next president of the Republic of Kenya and over other 5 leaders in that ballot paper, Chebukati is telling us, if we vote in this election, Miriam, a person in the name of Douglas Bundi Kiremi or someone else, a Douglas Kiremi can wake up tomorrow and go to court and also challenge that election on the basis of what happened in 2017, because the same problems are going to reappear. The same ghosts of 2017 are going to reappear in this election, Miriam. So it tells us, if Raila Odinga gets 15 million or William Ruto gets 3 million or 5 million, he can be able actually to go and dispute the same. Chebukati has been setting this country on the edge or a cliff of violence, or maybe he's been setting this country on fire since day one, Miriam, because I have seen Chebukati say himself that this commission is not technically prepared. And Miriam, this election, if I win today, I can be able to be thrown out of my win, or I can be able to be thrown out of Parliament, or maybe County Assembly or State House, based on technical issues that were raised in the Supreme Court, Miriam. We cannot be able to wish away these issues, Miriam, because Chebukati is not addressing the core issues of running these elections technically, because Miriam, he just wants to wake up, wear nice shirts, the way Mwangi Weria was saying the other day. He keeps hiding the whole day, then at night he appears like an hedgehog and gives an ultimatum, gives statements and speaks, and then goes back to his hiding. Chebukati can no longer keep hiding, Miriam, when the lives of the people of Kenya, property of the people of Kenya, or the property of the Republic of Kenya is at stake during this electioneering period, Miriam. We do not want to spend our time, resources, and everything at the end of the day, and this man, Chebukati, is going to run this country to the dogs. Because, Miriam, when you look at it, I'm wondering, why Chebukati, in his right mind, wants to keep telling us, we the people of Kenya, that Parliament did not pass some of the issues that he raised to them or the issues that he forwarded to Parliament. Parliament did not act on those issues. Why didn't we hear Chebukati raising the Aram last year? Why didn't we hear Chebukati speaking over the same until the right honorable Raila Odinga asked him? Miriam, this country is held hostage during this electioneering period by one man, Fura Chebukati, that I'm asking for the sake of peace and tranquility in this country, for the sake of peaceful coexistence of the people of Kenya. Please, Chebukati, it's 2 months to elections. Please vacate your position, vacate your office, and leave. Can you leave that commission so that we cannot be able to pass 100% of the blame to you? Because Miriam, if Chebukati bans this country, he is one person. He's a one-man army. He's a one person who wants to take this country to the dogs. But over 50 million Kenyans in this country, Miriam, are depending on one man to deliver a free, credible, and transparent election, which Chebukati has said over 2 years ago he cannot be able to deliver because he's not technically prepared. And that answer to the right honorable Raila Odinga shows me and shows you and shows millions of Kenyans, over 50 million Kenyans, that we are not prepared to get into an election. Chebukati should vacate his position as the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, a position that he should have vacated over 2 years ago, Miriam. Okay. Thank you.
Don't you think it's a bit too late for that? But I don't want an answer. We'll carry on with this conversation much later because our time is up. So I'll just read another story very quickly. I will not need a response. Maybe we'll look at it later because it's something that we have been following. And Nairobi gubernatorial candidate Johnson Sakaja has left doubts on his academic credentials, with utterances made in 2020 interview coming back to haunt him. His bid, I'm reading from the Star newspaper, page 20. But emerging details have now put the validity of that certificate in doubt, and in an already been cleared. He has already been cleared by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and Sakaja presented a degree from Team University in Uganda for his clearance. And in an interview with Churchill Show in June last year, Sakaja said he studied actuarial science at the University of Nairobi, but a letter from the University of Nairobi Deputy Vice Chancellor Julius Onyango to the Director of Criminal Investigations dated May 31st, 2021 says Sakaja is yet to graduate and he's still a student at the University of Nairobi. And of course, in a video uploaded on Asinga Nyashinsky's YouTube channel on September 22nd, 2020, Sakaja said he has never pursued education out of the country. So that is interesting. So, but now he has until noon today to file evidence. So IBC has given him some time. So I just needed to bring our viewers up to date with that. Doc, we had already concluded. We were saying our goodbyes.
Thank you very much. I was disrupted by Miriam, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I was disrupted by the networks here. I've just recovered my network. And thank you very much for the show. And I'm going on top of the hour. We meet at 11 o'clock East African Standard Time when we talk about Somalia and in diplomatic leaks. Is it taking off or taking down? When will it take off? Thank you very much, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much for that, and thank you, Gladwell. Thank you also, Douglas. So we'll see you at 11 a.m. East African time. Thank you so much for your time this morning. My name is Miriam Agoto. Good morning.